Too often, I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. Again, barefaced lies. Too often, I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. Again.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. If you wouldn't want where it's all gonna end, yeah. If you think we never want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced lies.
Barefaced lies. Barefaced lies.
Hey Sean, you got a party? You got that little party going on there. Keep to the left, you can't think right, so everything you do goes wrong, yeah. Incompetence just leads to disaster. Corruption brings it on even faster. What you say?
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. But you wouldn't wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. If you think we never wanna defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. But you wouldn't wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. If you think we never wanna defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced lies.
Barefaced lies. Barefaced lies.
Comrades, you always told us you'd build us all a new Jerusalem, yeah. You talk the talk, but when you walk, you only leave a crooked line there. And you don't see the trouble that's brewing, if all you do is just what you're doing.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. But you wouldn't wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. But you think we ever wanna defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced lies.
Is this where you wanna be? Debt and childhood poverty. Oh, somebody set us free from this corrupt kleptocracy. Oh yeah.
Barefaced lies.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. But you wouldn't wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. But you think we ever wanna defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. But you wouldn't wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. But you think we ever wanna defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. But you won't wonder where it's all gonna end,
At tomorrow evening's council meeting, Labour have 33 seats. 12 of their councillors are up for re-election, many of them in seats where they will be hard-pressed to secure a victory. As a consequence of the mobster-affiliated council leader Arood Shah and her gangster-style politics, Labour Party politicians from across the borough will be expected to sign their political death warrants.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. On the 20th of November 2003, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon was elected councillor for the Failsworth East Ward of Oldham. Deeply ambitious, he ruthlessly rose to power, and by 2011 he was already leader of the council. In 2015, exploiting a Labour Party loophole, he became MP for Oldham West and Royton. If only the people of the town knew then what they now know. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.
A very, very good afternoon. My apologies first of all for Sunday. As Ramadan is never known until the very last moment, I'd put up a transmission, and then I was told from my sister that Ramadan starts the day after, so I had a whole host of things I needed to attend to, and I'd rescheduled for yesterday afternoon, and I'd made the mistake of believing the fasting is easy. Fasting for me is never easy, so I had woken up with a horrific migraine, and those of you who are reliant on coffee as I am will know what the added pressures of that. So my apologies for letting some of you down on Sunday and yesterday as well, particularly Warren Bates. Warren, I don't know if you're here today, but Warren messaged me not happy that he'd shared the link and there was no transmission, and I'd been silent. I'd actually not been silent. I'd put up a quick note as best as I could on Telegram. So if you're not subscribed to the Telegram channel where I do most of my chatting with people, then that's on you, I'm afraid. Okay, let's get on with today's business. And please do share the transmission. And if you're new to me, please do consider buying me a coffee. Last week, over 700 of you joined my free-to-air transmission. So clearly we are still providing some value to this town, to the people of this borough and beyond, in our ongoing campaign, which has taken a lot out of me. If I'm honest with you, it's taken a hell of a lot out of me. Right, as we speak now, as we are talking to each other right this moment, there is a meeting taking place in the Mayor's Parlour, in the Mayor's office in the Civic Centre. That meeting is a standard meeting that takes place between leaders of all groups and the Mayor, the Borough Solicitor Paul Entwistle, he's usually there, and also the Chief Executive Harry Caffrell. And they will go through tomorrow's council meeting. Now, opposition leaders from across parties have gone demanding, following my transmission earlier on, have gone demanding that the 40 minutes of unused agendaed time for the Youth Council and something to do with petitions, there's 40 minutes there. That 40 minutes is transferred to opposition motions. As I shared with you last week, I think it was on Thursday or Friday, as I shared with you last week, what Arood Shah and the Labour Party Council are trying to do is time out the opposition motions, in particular time out the Failsworth independent motion calling for a judge-led inquiry, a Telford-style inquiry into the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of our town's children. And what they'd rather do is just quickly vote on it without allowing opposition councillors, Brian Hoban in particular, to speak, and all the others who will support them, including Cameron Gaffor from the Oldham group. Now, the reason why she wants to stop these opposition councillors speaking, and she's done this before. This councillor has done this before. Earlier on in the year, the Fails of Independence brought a motion, and then Lucia looked gormlessly towards Brian Hoban, and aren't they going to allow us to speak? And I thought that was a level of political ignorance. And what did you expect they were going to do? There's time set aside, and they talked you out. You know, they timed you out. They filibustered you, which is why I hopefully came to the aid of the Fails of Independence and others this time, because I felt what was done to them last time was wrong, and I needed to demonstrate a way through this where the motion will be heard, even though it's the last motion to be heard. The motion will be heard. Brian will be allowed to speak. Opposition councillors will be allowed to speak, and a vote, and a recorded vote to take place. So what I'm hoping for, and this is one of the other reasons why I believe Arud Shah and her Labour Party team want to time it out and stop people from speaking, is that as well as the white councillors speaking, people like Brian Hoban standing up and speaking, you will also find this time you will have the likes of Cameron Ghaffar from the Oldham group, a Pakistani Muslim, who will be fasting today and fasting tomorrow, standing up and supporting him. This is the first time ever anywhere in this country that a cross-party alliance, a cross-religious alliance, a cross-community alliance has come together in a council chamber demanding an inquiry into the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of our town's children, and people to be held accountable who are responsible for that, facilitating that cover-up, and thereby ultimately facilitating the continuation of the grooming and gang rape of hundreds more children. That doesn't suit the narrative of the Labour Party, who've been calling us racist for the last 4 or 5 years. Someone like Cameron Ghaffar, Councillor Wahid, standing up and speaking on behalf of white victims, white working class girls, has never happened before. And it doesn't suit who we now know the real racists are. It's Arud Shah and her Labour Party who are the real racists. It doesn't suit them. So we've given you a way out, and these council leaders are now valiantly, these council opposition leaders are now valiantly arguing as we speak for the time to be transferred. And if it isn't transferred, you know who is responsible. So that's what's taking place right now. I'll also clear with you at the beginning, I'll do it again at the end, but I'll clear with it at the beginning. My intention is to be at the council meeting tomorrow for about 5:30. I will be there. I know there's about 30 of us coming from our group. I know there are others coming. I urge you all not to disrupt the meeting in any way. I won't be disrupting the meeting in any way, and I'll be urging all of you not to do so. I want to see democracy in action and democracy take place in front of a fully packed public gallery. The best thing that can happen to Arud Shah and her associates is for us to keep our mouth shut, be respectful, and watch them vote. Watch them vote and force them to see that we are watching them vote as a marked, as a recorded vote, where they have to shout out. The chief executive says, Councillor STEVEN BASHFORTH, and Councillor STEVEN BASHFORTH will have to say whether he agrees or opposes a motion for a judge-led inquiry, and that will likely end his career. And I know he watches, along with a whole host of other Labour Party councillors, such as councillors Pete Davis. When you go into a pub afterwards, on a Friday night or a Saturday night, or with your grandchildren on a Sunday, people all around you will know how you voted, and whether you voted to continue covering up the grooming and gang rape of little white girls, or whether you voted with Arud Shah and the racists who want to cover it up because Pakistani men such as Shabir Ahmed were linked to the Labour Party, members of the Labour Party, and had the protection to do what they wanted. Your grandchildren will grow up remembering you either as a rape gang protector, complicit in the cover-up, continuing to vote to block an inquiry, or they'll grow up proud of their grandfather who, when the moment came, did the right thing. That's how you'll be remembered, Stephen Bashforth. That's how you'll be remembered, Pete Davis, Marie Bashforth. That's how you will be remembered. Ask your friends tonight. That's how you will be remembered. If you block a judge-led inquiry, something in the gift of the council, Maggie Oliver's confirmed it was a cover-up. The assurance review, Andy Burnham's assurance review was a cover-up. The report itself references Gerard Jones as preventing survivors from giving their testimonies. A judge-led inquiry. What do you have to hide, Steve? I know you weren't involved in the grooming and gang rape of children. You claim people called you a paedophile, but no one called you a paedophile. They called you a paedophile protector. And the reason why they called you a paedophile protector is because you've been involved repeatedly in blocking votes calling for a public inquiry. Why are you blocking votes calling for a public inquiry? Are you of the Clint Piffian school that an inquiry would be a waste of money? Why? Do poor working class white girls not deserve the same justice as middle class and rich kids? Are the children from the communities of Durka, Sholver, the estates, council estates in Royton and Shaw, Chadderton, should they be denied justice because they come from poor families? Who decides it's a waste of money? That's what Clint Piffian said, the Labour Party candidate for Royton North. So we will see. We will see what will happen. And indeed, Denise, he's on record for previously saying he would vote for it. Well, here's your chance, Steve. I'm very clear with Stephen Bashforth. If Stephen Bashforth goes out tomorrow and votes in favour of a judge-led, Telford-style judge-led inquiry, votes in support of the Fells of Independent motion, I will go into Royton South and deliver leaflets for Stephen Bashforth. Because he would have demonstrating a level of courage that even I thought he would not be capable of. So it's entirely up to Stephen Bashforth. Okay, what I'm going to do, and it's up to a few others. She's only got a majority of 3. And so you know, in fact, I'll bring it up now. Just give me a second. I'll do this a bit backwards. Give me 1 second. I think that's the point, isn't it, Gary? If he was a real Labour man, he'd champion working class children. If Stephen Bashforth and Marie Bashforth were real Labour Party men, women, real Labour Party, Stephen, Pete Davis, if you were real Labour Party men, you would champion working class children, you'd help protect working class children, and you'd vote in support of a Telford-style inquiry. And this is how desperate Arood Shah is. On the way back, sorry, I'll just move over so I'll get ready for this presentation. On the way over from Bangladesh, being flown back business class. Being flown back business class to be here in time for the meeting is Councillor Abdul Malik. Abdul Malik is under strict instructions to, one, support Arood Shah in the vote of no confidence against her, and also support Arood Shah and the Labour Party in continuing to cover up the grooming and gang rape of working class white girls. He's been away in Bangladesh. He's been flown back business class to attend the meeting. I'm also hearing that pressure is being put on Dr. Zahid Chauhan. Pressure is being put on Dr. Zahid Chauhan, who has been tending to his very poorly wife. And by very poorly, I get the impression terminally ill. and putting pressure on him to attend the meeting as well. Remember, she's only got a majority of 3. The mayor usually doesn't vote, so Eddie Mayers would be sat in the voting position. He ordinarily wouldn't vote. And if Dr. Chowan wasn't there and Abdul Malik wasn't there, she would be at risk of losing her overall majority or having to be bailed out by the mayor voting. And of course, if Eddie Mayers votes, if Eddie Mayers, who's up for re-election in Chadderton North, votes in support of blocking a public inquiry, or blocking a Telford-style judge-led inquiry, we'll descend on Chadderton North and remove him in the same way we removed Amanda Chadderton, in the same way we removed Arood Shah, in the same way we removed Sean Fielding. This is my warning to Eddie Mayers, who is likely to chair this meeting, because I'd be surprised if Dr. Chowan gives in to pressure to leave here the bedside of his terminally ill wife. He's been flown back business class, so you know which way he's voting. Okay. Let's start. The meeting itself has a number of opposition party motions. The first opposition party motion is from the Lib Dems, the so-called official opposition, stirred back into life after we shamed them, embarrassed them, and then hurt them by electing the Mark Hints in Shaw. I think that's a clear example. If we can elect Mark Hints in Shaw, we can get anyone over the line anywhere. I'm sure someone will have paid his expenses, Nicky. I doubt it'll be paid for directly. Nothing ever is in this town, but I'm sure someone will have paid for his business class flight back to the United Kingdom. So, the Coliseum Theatre. The Lib Dems have played it as the Lib Dems play it, which is, what they do. They latch onto a community issue and then mobilise around it, usually the Greenbelt. Now it's the Coliseum. They've kind of ignored the fact that it was Sam Al-Hamdani who was a member of the board of the Coliseum when it collapsed and failed on it in all the areas he failed, but he's washed his hands of that. They've rewritten history, which is what they do. Jane Barker, I wouldn't be surprised if Jane Barker is a Lib Dem candidate in an upcoming election very soon. And the likes of Anita Lowe have latched onto it. But it's fine. But it's absolutely fine, because the motion's a good motion and we should be supportive of the motion. And what the motion calls for is basically the reopening of the Coliseum Theatre. Now remember, when they closed it down, when Arood Shah's council, before Arood Shah came along, it was Amanda Chadderton closed it down. The councillor in charge of that area, who's now her deputy, Shahid Mushtaq, went on record to claim that the building was riddled with asbestos. That was proven to be a lie. And then the council went even further and said that it was beyond its life and it cost millions to keep going. And an official survey confirmed all it needed was a set of fire doors. Now, whilst they've shut it, they've ripped it all out, by the way. But people are still fighting for it. And I think by now it's gesture politics, if I'm honest with you. It's gesture politics. No one expects the Coliseum to be saved, never mind reopened. The council were quick to rip out the insides. And it now doesn't just need £500,000 to fix, it needs millions to fix because of the council's actions immediately after closing it. A new board was appointed. No one knows who appointed that new board, which is the bizarre thing. Was it the council? Because the council claimed the Coliseum is a third party independent of them. It really isn't. It's basically a proxy of the council. It's an extension of the council. They just pretend. But the Lib Dems have gone in and they want to vote to reopen the Coliseum because the replacement performance space is not a theatre. And taking away the Coliseum is more than just taking away our history and heritage. You need to understand what Labour have been doing in this town for the last decade and more. They have been transforming this town. It started with the tram, the destruction of the town centre, making smaller of Oldham town, so over a period of time it becomes no different to the size of Chadderton town centre, Royton town centre, Shaw town centre. So it becomes a small town. They've been doing that on purpose. So we all suffer because what they want us to do is make Oldham Borough into a slave town for Manchester. It's Andy Burnham and his Greater Manchester dream. They want to make Greater Manchester into this big city, big super city, where we provide the cheap labour. You get on the tram, get on the buses into Manchester, work for peanuts and come home at night. So the closing of the Coliseum is another step towards that. That's what Arud Shah and the Labour Party leaders want to do to Oldham. They want to destroy the town. They want to destroy the borough. They want to make it so we become a subservient little dot on the map and our people lose all of our identity and we just become slaves to Manchester. It's all of that, Lynn. It's all the stuff to do with 15-minute cities and stuff. They want to make us into slaves. That's their plan, and that's why they closed down the Coliseum, and that's why they replaced it with a performance space. That's not a theatre, it's not a performing theatre, it's not a producing theatre. We'll lose our voice. No one is going to come from outside into Oldham for a market inside the old TJ Hughes that's now been demolished or whatever. No one is going to come into Oldham for a shopping centre that's been made into something somewhat smaller, filled with HMO, surrounded by HMOs, and the demographic that attracts. This has been a long time coming. And that's what Arud Shah and her cronies want. And why? Why do these people want to destroy our town? It's because they benefit from it. They financially benefit from it. They get positions of power. They get positions of influence. And Arud Shah wants to progress her career. And she'll progress her career by selling the town, selling the borough. And dare you say anything, you'll either be attacked historically by a malicious blogger in partnership with corrupt police officers and a machete-wielding convicted heroin dealer. So that's what they want to do with the Coliseum. And this is what she's put out just before the meeting as a PR stunt, specifically around the motion, the Coliseum. And I'll play it first, and then I'll let you
from the Oldham Coliseum today. Lauren is here, joined us here today, and we're really pleased that we as a council are supporting their spring and summer events while we work together on plans for Oldham's new theatre. It's great news that the Coliseum is putting on such a brilliant arts and cultural programme for Oldhamers in the meantime, including a brand new pop-up theatre which is set to open its doors next month. Groups and local communities will have the chance to take part in a full range of activities and workshops, and aspiring theatre technicians and creatives can hone their skills while we're all having the opportunity to go and enjoy some brilliant performances.
As Aruj says, as of April, a brand new pop-up space will arrive in the town centre. The Coliseum at Roundabout will have opportunities for everyone to get involved. So if you've got a community group, if you've got a history with the Coliseum, come on down and see us.
Okay. So Lauren is someone from the Coliseum who clearly has no history with this town. and is happy to stand alongside a council leader who hangs off the arm of a convicted heroin dealer. I see you standing next to her, Lauren. And she's promoting this pop-up space. Is that what we've now become? A town with a theatre that people travel to from hundreds of miles to now a pop-up space near the roundabout. That's right. And she's gimmicked it just before the elections, hoping she'll get some votes. These people are a disgrace. And I urge all of us to support the Lib Dem motion calling for the reopening of the Coliseum, if only for Arud Shah and her mates to vote it down, and then we go and get some votes for opposition candidates against Labour candidates. Because sadly, there are those who care more about the theatre than about our children. But it's okay. We'll support those people as well. And that's exactly the right phrase, Gary. We are becoming a suburb of slaves. On purpose. And to give Arud Shah some credit, not instigated by her, it predates her. It goes back to Amanda Chadderton. Before that, it goes back to Sean Fielding and Arud Shah, remember, when they all walked down the bottom of the Game Changer with Jim McMahon. All this goes back to Jim McMahon. And then the Metro Mayor.
It's fantastic to be here.
And speaking of the Metro Mayor, right at the end of the agenda, and those of you who've been with me on this journey know that the council do this on purpose, put the most important, what they consider the most important agenda items as far down the budget, the agenda as possible, at the end, ideally at the end. What they've done is put this vote right at the end, which is Andy Burnham's Places for Everyone scheme. They want to endorse Andy Burnham's, approve Andy Burnham's Places for Everyone scheme that will see the green belt destroyed across the borough. I find it interesting that Mark Mintz has put out a statement saying he'll vote against this. That's Mark Mintz from the Independent Group, who's currently having some issues with his wife's business interests and his business interests and his declaration of interests. Mark Mintz, of course, has previously voted in support of Places for Everyone and has previously voted as a member of the planning committee to vote to build on the green belt. But again, as far as we're concerned, we will stand alongside everyone who votes to protect our green belt. The Lib Dems will definitely vote against Places for Everyone. They've been consistent on this. The Oldham Conservatives will. And I'd be surprised if even Luke Lancaster or Max Woodvine managed to mess this one up. Everyone, I think, will, from the opposition parties, will vote against Andy Burnham's Places for Everyone scheme because it takes the power away from us. Why would you hand over power of where we build homes to Andy Burnham and some of his posh South Manchester metropolitan elite team? Why would you hand that power over to them? Why would you destroy our green belt when we've got so much brownfield site? Not one single house needs to be built on the green belt. And more so the Places for Everyone scheme. If you actually have a closer look at it and what they want to build in Oldham, across the borough of Oldham, they're not houses you and I, or most of us, can afford. They want to build high value houses with high council tax receipts with minimal reliance on services. That's what they're trying to do. So Arud Shah's Places for Everyone scheme will be voted on right at the end. And hopefully people will have the time to get up and speak and still have the energy to get up and speak. And it will be voted down. Remember, she's only got a majority of 3. Josh Charters in particular is in massive trouble as big green areas of Derker look like they're going to be built on. He's already fallen out with the campaigners and ranted at them, put an email out ranting. He doesn't know how to write in paragraphs, by the way. Ranting straight out the Arud Shah school of rant, rant, rant. So that's right at the end of the meeting. I find this, I understand it. I understand it because Arud Shah wants to wants to secure a place in the House of Lords. It's the information I read. Arud Shah wants to secure a role in the House of Lords. Baroness Shah of Oldham. So she wants to put forward a motion, and she has put forward a motion regarding the conflict in Gaza. Now bear in mind, again, Steve Bashforth, Marie Bashforth, Pete Davis, Paul Fryer, Chris Goodwin, Graham Shuttleworth. This motion is actually being seconded by Councillor Ross Birch, who's desperately trying to secure some Muslim votes in Waterhead. And what the motion actually does, in the main, is try and score political points over the death of tens of thousands of people. These people are trying to politically benefit over the death of tens of thousands of people. It doesn't matter what side you're on. You need to understand what the motives are here. These people don't care about what's happened in Gaza. Either the hostages or the massacre of children and now the starvation of children. They don't care. Because if they cared, they'd have done something earlier. They'd have spoken out earlier. Arud Shah and her mates would have done something. It's the month before the election, and they are getting chased down the streets, on the streets of St Mary's, Alexander. No one wants to vote for them, so they brought this stupid motion forward, thinking that they can use it to trick people to vote for them. But Arud Shah's gone one further. And what Arud Shah's done, Arud Shah's gone one further. And what Arud Shah's done is she's worded the motion in such a way where she's busy condemning Hamas and not saying anything about what Israel has done. Because she can't do that, because then she'd scupper her career chances and the House of Lords would be denied to her. So she's playing her own Muslims. She's playing the very Muslims that she's pretending she's representing. She doesn't care about the Muslims any more than she cares about little white girls. All Shah cares about is herself. And if you oppose her, one of her mobsters might end up sending his scouts to follow you home. Something that she's refused to condemn to this day. I find it utterly bizarre as to why a motion like this is being brought forward by the leader of the council and Ross Birch. It's definitely not for any... There's no sincerity in this. This is just political opportunism. For people who are desperate for the Muslims to go and vote for them. They don't care about the Muslims. They don't care about the whites. They only care for themselves. That is Labour. That is exactly what Labour is. In a council meeting, were we fighting for time? Were we fighting for time to discuss, debate and force through a judge-led inquiry into the confirmed cover-up of the gang rape of our town's children, Arood Shah wants to take up valuable time playing gesture politics, too little, too late, about Gaza. And this is why. If the Labour Party councillors, the white ones in particular, if the white Labour Party councillors vote against the Fails of Independent motion, it will be the end of their political careers. Josh Charters, you're the campaign coordinator or something now, aren't you? Vote against this and we'll finish you in St. James. Holly Harrison, Chadderton South, white woman. Why would a white woman such as Holly Harrison want to vote to block a judge-led inquiry into the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of little white girls? Vote against this, Holly Harrison, and we'll finish you in Chadderton South. Ross Birch, we expect you to vote against this because I know we know you don't care about working class white girls. So we're going to finish you in Waterhead. We're going to support the Oldham group candidate. Muslims, white people, we're going to vote the Oldham group candidate. We're going to take you out. You're going to be finished, Ross Birch. And you know what? The eulogies on your political careers will be how you were removed from power because you protected the rape gangs. Because that's what you would be doing if you vote to block a judge-led inquiry. You continue to protect the rape gangs and you continue to protect those who covered up for the rape gangs. Because, sorry, and Denise is here, I went back and checked. I cannot find a single person that has been charged so far under Operation Sherwood. Not a single person so far has been charged under Operation Sherwood. It's a sham of an investigation that followed on from an assurance review that Maggie Oliver has confirmed to have been a cover-up, where the investigators were prevented from accessing the truth by council officers. Do you think those council officers did it off their own back? No. They did it because they were instructed to do it. Only a genuine, independent, judge-led inquiry can deliver us some element of justice now. I'm hearing that Mark Mince is trying to scupper this motion as well. That's right, Mark Mince from the independent group. That's Mark Mince, Maggie Hurley, and Sandra Ball. They are trying to scupper this motion, aiding the Labour Party by putting in their own amendment. There is no reason to amend that motion. That motion is very clear, it's very precise, and any amendments, at best, and at best is the wrong word, you're trying to steal someone else's work, Mince. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Hurley, where's your big team? Hey Hurley, where's your big team? How about you, Sandra Ball? You on board with this? You are. So if you're on board with it, that means Mark Wilkinson's on board with it as well. So I'm telling you now, Mark Wilkinson, If any of your team try and amend this motion to scupper it, there will be consequences. They are your team, Mark Wilkinson. You've aligned yourself with them, you've stood with them, and you've confirmed your TIG loyalties. My information is they're trying to scupper the independent group. Mark Mintz and his team are trying to scupper the fails with independent motion by amending it. You only amend it if there's something wrong with it, or if you want to scupper it. There's nothing wrong with that amendment. Do you remember Mark Mintz and his team are the ones who voted against their own amendments? And there was nothing preventing Mintz from putting in his own motion. He could have done this at the last council meeting, he didn't do. He could have put something in at this council meeting, he didn't do. Mintz and his wasters put in nothing. Secret squirrel. Elaine Taylor and Holly Harrison are also involved in a Labour motion. And that Labour motion is to do with writing a letter to the Mayor thanking him for the buses. It's just a filibustering motion. It's just a motion designed to waste time. So that's what these people are doing. Last but not least, the Conservatives have rolled their sleeves up, led by Lewis. Graham Sheldon had to second the motion. It's a vote of no confidence in the mobster affiliated, gangster affiliated, convicted heroin dealer affiliated, money launderer affiliated. Who blew up your car, Arud Shah? That's correct. There is a vote of no confidence in the council leader. Never before done. Never before done. A vote of no confidence in an Oldham council leader. Why? Is it because of her gangster links? Is it because she follows councillors home or to restaurants and tries to get CCTV footage of them? Is it because those associated with her? And I hear these stories regularly, are going round to people saying they can help with planning applications and whatnot. Yeah? Is it because she's repeatedly blocked votes into CSC? Is it because she sold a town to Andy Burnham? She's definitely brought the town into disrepute. Her motion on Gaza and Ross Murch's motion on Gaza, there's actually precedent. The Lib Dems took a motion on Lib Dems took a motion a few years ago, I think it was 2015. They took a motion on drink driving. It was refused because it had nothing to do with Oldham, or not enough to do with Oldham. There's precedent on that. The Labour Party Council refused it. Yet now, if drink driving isn't relevant to the people of Oldham, she is a disgrace. And I look forward to the vote of no confidence. And I particularly look forward to seeing whether or not the Lib Dems, the fence sitters, because that's what they historically are, have the courage to support a vote of no confidence in Arud Shah, Because if they don't support the vote of no confidence in Arud Shah, the Lib Dems support a council leader who hangs off the arm of a convicted heroin dealer. A member of Dale Cregan's gang, convicted in the dock alongside Cregan, who is not rehabilitated because he was arrested and charged after the election last May for attacking one of his neighbours. Apparently he was wielding a machete. Abdul Malik, Builder Malik, business class, landing about now. Maybe he's already landed. Might have to fix his hair, dye his hair a bit. He'll be on the way to save Arud Shah. Steve Bashforth, Holly Harrison, Marie Bashforth, Pete Davis. How is it you want this town to remember you? How is it you want this town to remember you? Last week, just last 7 days, 728 people joined in these transmissions. Eddie Moores, indeed. Eddie Moores we're going to take out. He's a Labour Party stooge. He'll vote with them no matter what, Gary. Last week, 728 people joined the free transmission I put out, I think, on Thursday or Friday. If you find value in this work, please consider buying me a coffee. There's super chats on here, or subscribing to the page. This is a combination of Anita Lowe and I think Neil Wilby. Very keen on attacking me as they always do. I was born in Bradford, therefore I am not and never will be an Oldham. Telling me what I am and what I'm not, in a world where people can decide whether they're male or female, I find to be absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that they continue to hide behind fake profiles. But I do know OMBC Woof Woof is a woman called Anita Lowe. Anita Lowe is now aligned with the Royton Independents. We do not fire up both sides, I do not. I do not get anyone to hold up my placards, and there is absolutely no one who has ever been arrested apart from me in this journey. I lead from the front. I don't hide who I am like you, Anita Lowe, you vermin. Or you will be. Malicious blogger, proven liar. Witness of low credibility, I think, was that not what a judge said? I'm not like any of you people, which is why I enjoy the respect of so many people. And even those who don't like me grudgingly accept the value I bring. They're trying to scare you from attending tomorrow. I urge you all to attend tomorrow. I will be there. I urge you to behave, because we are better than them. We have always been better than them. We are decent people who care passionately about the place we call home. And in that council chamber is where the decisions are made that affect our lives. In life, there aren't many times where you can make a difference to more than just yourselves. Those times are few and far between. Tomorrow is one of those opportunities. Be brave. Turn up. Face them. Look them in the eye. And know we need do nothing more other than witness. All the hard work has been done. The motions are in from across parties. You'll be stood alongside, white people will be stood alongside Muslims, shoulder to shoulder. And in the council chamber, Muslims will be voting alongside our white councillors, caring passionately, on the same page, on the same issues. We've come a long way in the 5 years. We've been fighting this. Tomorrow is the last council meeting of the year, and with a bit of luck, it'll be the last time Labour control this town.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. On the 20th of November 2003, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon was elected councillor for the Failsworth East Ward of Oldham. Deeply ambitious, he ruthlessly rose to power, and by 2011, he was already leader of the council. In 2015, exploiting a Labour Party loophole, he became MP for Oldham West and Royton. If only the people of the town knew then what they now know. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.